Hi, and welcome back to Curious by Nature, the GUS podcast. I'm Emily Glore, Director of Admission at Glen Urquhart School. One of the things we hear often from families is that they're looking for more than just a school. They're looking for a place where their child will be known, supported, and challenged, and where they themselves will feel part of a real community. In today's episode, I'm joined by Courtney Berg, a GUS parent of 3 and our Parent Association president, who shares what that has looked like for her family. From finding the right fit to building connections with other families, this conversation offers an honest look at what makes the GUS experience so meaningful. Let's get started. Hi, we are so excited for this podcast episode, and with us today we have Courtney Berg.
Hi.
And Courtney, you introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Courtney Berg. I am a parent of 3 kids in the lower school at GUS. I have a second grader, a kindergartner, and a pre-K Owls, which is the youngest. We started here in 2023 with my oldest transitioning into kindergarten. And and I'm also the president of the Parent Association this year for the first time and had done events in the past. So I'm all in.
All in. We love seeing you on campus. Awesome. So I'm interested to hear a little bit about what drew you to GUS in the first place.
Yeah. So we're newish to the North Shore. I grew up in Rhode Island. My husband grew up in San Diego. We were living in the San Francisco Bay Area for a while, and my 2 oldest were born there. And when I was there, I was working in education. I worked at a private school in the Bay Area, and then when we moved out here, we wanted to be closer to family. So we moved during COVID, and has been a wild journey, but we looked for schools as my oldest were starting to get ready for kindergarten, and we kind of thought about public school. Both my husband and I went to public school. I went all through college, and just kind of thinking about where we wanted him as his personality and what was needed for him. We had some hesitancies, I guess, because he is a little bit more reserved. He's really quiet, but he is really thoughtful, and he's really smart, and he takes things in and he feels. And we were a little concerned that in the public school setting, or maybe a bigger school setting, that he was gonna kind of either be used as like Oren is the big good kid that let's have him take care of everything, or that he was gonna just be kind of ignored. So we were really thoughtful about trying to find a space for him that felt supportive for his needs. So we started the process of looking at schools, and since I had been in private school teaching for middle school and high school, I knew options were out there that did things alternatively or less traditionally in the sense of the classroom space, but I didn't know any of the options. So GUS came up, and we really liked it.
Did you say it was love at first sight?
You know, it's funny, we used to drive past it to go to like these music classes, and I was always like, what is that place? Like there was some type of feeling that I was emanating out.
It's the force field.
Yeah. So that was honestly why I had looked at it originally, because we had just driven past it, and I was like, I need to know what this place is back in there. We had done farm school, preschool, which we really enjoy. That's where the COVID piece came in, because we just were like, we need something outside, and then we fell in love with it. So then when we went on the website for GUS, and we saw there was that, plus just the idea of thinking about educationally, I think intentionality has been the term that I've really stuck with this whole time. But I think the outside and then the intentionality in the education for Oren specifically, but then it really seemed like a good fit for just us as a family unit. That's what kind of connected us.
Great. Well, I think it's something that I hear a lot in admission is this interest in families who know that their child is good to go, and the desire to make sure that they're not going to fall through the cracks just because they're, they have a really mellow temperament, or, you know, they're academically right where they should be, or even like going above where the bar is set, making sure that those kids are still seen and celebrated and challenged.
Yes.
And so I appreciate your use of the word intentionality, because I'm often talking about a way that all of the curriculum each year is rooted in this thematic unit that can light up all of the other components of our curriculum. And it is really intentional. And I think every child, no matter where they are in their learning, is able to access the academics of the school because it's delivered in such an intentional way.
Yeah, I think the intentionality goes beyond just the overarching themes, but the individual connections that the teachers have with the students. That's the part that I think was evident. We were surprised, but also felt really good, especially with us having just moved here. It's like we walked on campus and everybody knew who we were, and we were like, what? How do they know this? And it wasn't like in a creepy way. It was in a really warm, friendly way. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, they actually care. It's not that we're just here. And I think the intentionality shows up in our parent-teacher conferences. Like, they know who my kids are, and we're seen, and that's what I wanted. And both my husband and I had these experiences in our public school journey, was that we did good enough, if not even better. Yeah. And then people were like, well, we don't have to worry about them. Yeah. And it's like, but how much better could I have been? Could we have been if we had someone who was like, okay, cool, let's challenge you a little bit more. Let's see what we can do. Let's keep growing you as a person, instead of checking off boxes. And we've checked them all off, and we're like, you're good. Yeah, keep going.
Great work. Go read a book.
Exactly. And that's, I remember that's honestly what I would do a lot of times. Is like, I'd be done with my math work, and then I'd just be reading, and then like just sitting around waiting and not having that intentionality with the space I was in, right? And nothing to do with the individual teachers that were there, because there were some really awesome teachers. It's just the system is different, and it's just not set up in the same way that allows that flexibility and that intention. We'll just keep going back to that word. Intentionality.
So can you share some of the highlights of your kids having spent time here now?
I think one highlight, and it was funny, we were just at the dentist this morning, and I was telling my husband about this, is just the confidence that our kids have. Awesome. I mean, specifically my oldest, he's been here the longest, but he is like totally unafraid to just like take on whatever challenges in the world. So like the dentist this morning, he was like chatting up the hygienist. That's and like awesome. Asking all the questions about all the things, and like not scared to ask about those things. Amazing. Or like karate testing, they're like out in front of everybody, and they get quizzed on these words, and they don't know what they're gonna, and I was like, are you good? And he's like, I got this. Like, the confidence that he has to be able to do those things, and I see it starting with my daughters who just started, but still work in progress. But I mean, when they are out doing all school meeting and they're talking in front of the entire school plus all the parents, and they're just like, yeah, this is normal, like whatever. Like, I was not like that, and I'm still not like that.
It's so funny. That is not what I was expecting to say. You went straight to the dentist, and I was expecting like a field trip that's awesome. But I have the great pleasure of getting to take your kids, not take them, but like help them out of the car in the morning. And I think they're so happy to be here. Yes. And that's not just exclusive to your children. Like, it brings me so much joy, and I think it speaks volumes about the way that the students feel connected to their teachers, like you were saying, and to what they're learning, and like the adventure that every day holds here. That, you know, you open the door and they're just like, great, let's roll. It's really,
and the friendships they're building. I think that one thing about the like continued class just kind of moving forward is that they are growing with each other, and there's some interpersonal things because you know they're children and growing, and but then it's a nice reflection of being like, yeah, but remember who they were 2 years ago. Like, they've grown so much, and think about how you guys are growing together, and it's just kind of fun, and having that like they'll already be like, well, these are going to be my friends for like the next 7-8 years. And I'm so excited to spend this time with them. And they're really excited about that. So, and I think that's a huge draw. Like, they were like, after 2 weeks off for spring break, they're like, I can't wait to go back to school and see all my friends and just talk to my teachers and do this and that. So they very much enjoy it.
That's really cool. I'm glad that you brought that up for the younger students, because I feel like I see it more with the upper school students who are starting to like count down their time here. I know that this year's 8th grade class really looked up to last year's 8th grade class, who was like, they were just one really solid, cohesive unit, and they had, you know, there were interpersonal things that came up, but they really intentionally were like one really strong group of people together who really supported each other. And I know that this year's 8th graders came into the year being like, we want to be like that. But at the same time, I've even seen like this year's 6th grade class really come together in the same way. And it's just cool that we're allowing the students to grow together while they're growing individually. Like, it's a collective and individual effort, and it's fun to watch that evolve.
I think going with that too is like, it's organic, but it's also supported, because I think they're kids, even adults. People are going to have conflict, but I think it's the way that you approach the conflict is the way you either build stronger community or that it breaks the community, right? And there have been issues, I know, in like some of the classes that we've had, but like the teachers and the staff are like on it. They're very thoughtful. It's not just them solving the problems either. It's like, how can we work on this and use this as a learning opportunity? I mean, Miss Beck is great about that too in 2nd grade, but I've seen it for other situations as well, where they're just like, let's put this on the kids to reflect, have empathy, and build that together. And I think that's what is that foundation of strength, because they're able to build these social emotional skills that are going to be the foundation of strong relationships. And that's where it comes from, I think.
I think that is something that sets us apart, the way that students are cared for as human beings. And I say that because we know, you're an educator, I'm a recovering educator as well, that students are going to do their best at school. They are going to learn the most when they feel comfortable, when they feel secure, when they feel cared for, when they feel celebrated. Like, they really feel wrapped up in the community. And what you were saying about like the way that conflict is able to be addressed openly and carefully, so with care, I think that it's so remarkable the way GUS does that, and it's what makes the school and the students here so successful as learners, because they have this really strong network of peers and parents. So, speaking of parents, that was my best segue. You're also the president of the Parents Association, which I get a lot of questions about in admission, but it's not just it doesn't even live there. It's like all the families here love to be involved. So we have this amazing community of students that we're cultivating and supporting, but you have a special role as that president of the Parents Association. So can you talk a little bit about what parent involvement looks like?
Yes. I'm going to first talk about what parent involvement has looked at in other places first, because I was a little hesitant when Christine had come up to me and said, would you be interested in taking on the president role? And I was like, because I've been in situations where parent groups, it is a commitment, and it takes the joy out of it in some ways. And I was a little concerned about that, especially we were somewhat new to the community. I didn't want to burn out that quickly. And so we would have like meetings for hours or whatever. But I was like, okay, from my experience before, like when I was a room parent and I did some event stuff and supporting, it was very like, here's your role, but we're all in this together. And I think that has reigned true even now. And I don't think I would be in this position if that wasn't the case, because I'm getting better at boundaries. It's a work in progress. Yes. But it was still, I think that the thing that stands out about this is that it's the parent association is the whole of all the parents, and you do what you can. There's no expectation. There's no shame if you cannot, but it is just a true community. We're here for each other to build up the space, and there's some people that can do more at this time in their lives than others, and that's where I was at right now, where I was like, I would love to help out more. I can help out, but when we had a family emergency or there was something going on, people picked it up for me. They're like, don't worry about it. I will look at the email address for the next week. We got this, that, and that. And I didn't have to worry or feel guilty or shame or whatever that I wasn't showing up for these things, because we're just there for each other. And that's the part that I feel has been the best part of it, because, and I always tell people, I can see it in their faces when I ask them to like volunteer or something. They're like, but what does this mean? And I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to that level. And I'm like, no, it's truly choose your own adventure. If you can help out right now, great. But we all understand, we were just talking about this before, right? Like, our lives are just chaos right now. We all have children that have a lot of demands, that can't drive anywhere themselves. Can't take care of themselves mostly. And so there's a lot on all of our plates, and we understand that. And it's like, wherever you can help out is and I think people recognize that help is what makes the space for their kids and for us better. And I think people are looking for that. I think a lot of things that people look for at GUS is not just the academics, but also that sense of community. That was a huge piece for us. It's like, we had looked at other schools and the authenticity of what it felt like and the community, and that I could be myself, and I knew that then that meant that my kids could be themselves, and that we could be supported and help each other out. That was what really sold the deal for us. But that's kind of my spiel about why people shouldn't fear the parent association, but also should be excited to be participating in it, because it's a really, like, we do lots of social activities. We help out the teachers. We will have coffee once a month at the all-school meeting, and people just chat and catch up, and it's just like an organic piece again, right? It's intentional, but it feels organic, and that's the community piece to it too,
right? I think it's something that stands out to me about GUS as well, is there's just a really human element to our parents. I think there have been a few times that you have been able to you will check in, you're like, how are you? Specifically after winter break, you're like, how are you? And in my sort of babbling about how I'm doing, you were able to like pull out of me like, oh, this is how I have felt recently. And it seems like you're experiencing this too, in a way that's just like, you're human, I'm human, and we're all just like parents trying to do what will honor our kids. And there's a whole mess of emotions that go into that as a parent, but like, let's help each other out. Let's be there when we can. And that's what we're all here for.
I think it helps having those connections too, because then you're like, oh wait, I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. We're all doing this together, and there's a lot of other stuff we're carrying outside of parenthood too, and all of that mixed together is just like this weird mess that it's like we feel like we're alone in. And so I think that community piece is what is super helpful. And I think the other part with GUS being pre-K through 8th, I have friends that have kids in 8th grade, and they're in a totally different journey. But I'm like, this is so cool, because I can get your feedback on what happened, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that, and like, give me book recommendations and things, so I can like go through these stages hopefully a little more prepared. It's everybody's different, but
for sure. And maybe this is a very poor analogy, I don't know, but it feels like there's a really 1990s quality to community that we have here, where like, yes, maybe the commiseration or community is probably a better way to put it, maybe it's happening on a text chain, but the ability to be like, you're going to be late for carpool, that's fine, your kids can come with me to karate or whatever it may be. That sense of camaraderie and community that I feel like my parents took great advantage of in the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel like that is so healthy here. And it's part of what drew me to GUS and kept it in my mind for so long. I was like, that's what I want to be around, support, build, cultivate.
And I think that is having it be a space where people choose to come to, is that we're all choosing that type of thing, right? Yeah. And I think that's what makes it a healthy space, is that we're all looking for that and supporting that, and that it helps it thrive.
Yeah. Okay, you said some things about ways for parents to be involved. Say more about that.
So there are room parents, about 2 for each class, but it's basically just a touch point and a connection between the parent association to the individual classes, so that there's specifics for your class. Like yesterday, our room parent for kindergarten reached out, and apparently her daughter had convinced her, because it was April Fool's yesterday, that it was a field trip, and so that
oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It was really funny. But she was like, just so you know, it's not today, in case anyone else's parent or kids was trying to convince you, it's actually on this date. So it's like some specifics for class information, but also just to keep everybody in touch with the school events, because I think a lot of times we get bombarded by lots of emails and events, and we can lose sense of them. So having that specific person for your class is helpful. We also have different events that go on. So in the fall, we try to do a social event. This year we did Bit Bar. We had like some arcade games and food and connections. We also do some fundraising events sometimes. And Danielle, our advancement person, she had put together a huge event that was amazing this weekend.
Oh my gosh,
that was so great. Fun. Yeah, and so the part of our job as the parent association was that we collected items for class gift baskets to go into the silent auction to raise funds for GUS, and then we also just have some informal stuff. We've had like lower school connections where people just do a potluck and we meet up. We've had individual class ones. I think some people went like bowling maybe, or the beach. There's been a few different ones. I was also, laser tag is very high up on my list, because we did, I keep going back to karate because karate is half of our life right now, but we had a birthday party for my oldest there, and having dodgeball be against the parents versus the kids was like the best bonding activity, and I was like, I need to do more events like this. So I think laser tag might be our next social class. I'm in. And it's kids versus parents.
Yes. That does sound like fun.
Yeah, and then we do Teacher Appreciation Week. We do lots of celebrations for the teachers throughout the year. One thing I've been trying to do is also just be intentional about celebrating the parents. So we did a welcome back to school coffee with Bean Trust. They brought coffee, and we had the boar come. The highlight of my day.
The boar made a show.
And then we also do end of the year celebrations at times, and just kind of celebrating. And I think it's just building the community, and there's work in it. Oh, and bingo. How did I forget bingo? Bingo is like...
What a fun night.
Woo! That is like... We had probably some of the highest... We ran out of tables this year.
Holy
we had
smokes.
Ran out of pizza, ran out of tables. And I was like, what is happening? Bingo is a hot item each year. But so it's just those touch points to have fun and to build community, but also to celebrate each other and to celebrate the teachers and kind of come together for that. So.
I appreciate what you said too about there are all these amazing options, and there's also no pressure and no shame in that game. Like, we have all school meeting every Friday, and it's open to all the parents. Any of these amazing things that you put together, your team puts together, are always open to everyone. And there's like, no one's taking attendance. If you can't go, no one's like, oh, well, they're not that involved, which I find to be so nice. I just think it sets the bar at such a manageable level for parents, knowing that you may be on the Hot Mess Express one day.
And you know what?
That's fine.
And everybody's journey, like, there have been people, like, we took a president's photo at the GUS event the other night.
Oh, that's so fun.
It was so cute. And there are some parents that have older kids. Now they're, like, 7th, 8th grade. And they're like, I did a lot when they were in lower school and I'm good right now. And you know what?
Phases
There's no expectations. And there's some people in lower school that are like, this is not my time right now, but maybe another point in my life. Or there's some people that are just like, that is just not my jam at all.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool as well. So it's truly choose your own adventure.
Yeah. I'd also like to give a shout out to the room parent dads.
Yes.
There are some really strong cohort, well, one in particular, really strong cohort of room parent dads, and I'm really here for it.
I love that. Yep. Yeah, and they spoke at the GUS event this Saturday too. It was great. I definitely appreciate it. I thought, actually, I did have a piece of feedback from one of their parents in my son's class. He said part of the reason he was drawn to GUS was that he saw that dads were involved.
That's awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
That was what sold it for him, because he was like, it's not just moms. Like, he's like, this is a whole family thing. Yeah. Like, we're not, this isn't a... Yeah.
It's not exclusive.
Exactly.
So with that being said, what advice do you have for families who are looking to get involved or want to feel like they're really deeply involved in the community?
I think just reach out. Let us know.
Yeah.
Right? I GUSPA@gus.org.
Yeah.
That is the email address. If I have a running list, I'm a spreadsheets girl.
Ooh.
So I have lots of spreadsheets, and I have a running list of people who have said specifically, I would love to. Realistically, though, it's typically either letting me know about room parents roles, or if you want to be on the board for like communications or teacher appreciation events. But a lot of the time it's just sign up geniuses. So we'll send out, like, for teacher appreciation week, we'll be like, okay, here's the general plan, here are the things we need. Like, if you're willing to bring a breakfast item, you can sign up for that and drop it off at the designated place, and then that's that. And you can always ask to do an offer to do more if you want, but that it could be as simple as just like grabbing some munchkins on the way to school and dropping them off, and you're done your duty. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's amazing how much food goes a long way in, I'm gonna specifically say for the faculty and staff.
100%.
Like, it doesn't last long. People are so happy to be fed.
I, as a former educator, that was honestly, food made me really happy. And I was like, I will definitely return the favor.
I actually think there's a book, and I should probably fact check this, but I think there's a book that's title is something around, you have to feed the teachers so they don't eat the students. Something cheeky like that. So, which you do very well with the help of the parent community.
And people always give me a lot of credit, and I'm like, I promise you, it is not me doing all of this. Like, I appreciate I'll take the compliments, but I'm going to spread them out, because there's so many people that are like, and it's a good team, so it's been helpful.
That's fantastic. And I will also say, because I know that you have shared this with me, and Danielle has as well, that no amount of volunteering is too little. You saw me come in with a basket that includes a iron and a steamer, because we had actually a grandparent who was like, I'd love to help with the event at the cut. And Danielle really just needed these tablecloths to not be wrinkly. And this amazing grandparent was like, great. So she steamed and ironed all of them. So it's like, even just something that simple goes such a long way. So yes, certainly if you are interested in doing something big or small, just GUSPA@gus.org.
Yes.
Sounds like that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
And Courtney Berg, you're just a gem. We're very glad to have you,
Emily Glore.
and you are part of what makes the school so wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the GUS podcast, Curious by Nature. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, leave a review, or let us know what you want to hear about next. If you're interested in learning more about GUS, please visit gus.org. We're grateful to have you with us, and until next time, stay curious.